Barking Academy, East London. Assessment for learning is part of the whole school's development plan. This case study shows how self and peer assessment is especially relevant in the PE department, as dance specialist Alex Lowe uses video technology with a Year 8 group.
And then if I do this in front of the camera...
Girls and boys have separate PE lessons. These two cried off with rugby injuries, but she puts them to work with the equipment.
5, 6, 7 and twist. Step, step. Round and stretch. Over. Up. Over and a jump. Up. Slide.
They only have a few weeks dance a year, so Alex is determined to get the most out of them.
Stop in parallel. We'll stop the music. Leave the camera and come sit down. Now, I think it's going to be interesting for us to have a little look at these performances. How many weeks have we been doing that warm-up? 10 weeks. So how perfect should it be? I've actually only been working with the Year 8 group for 3 lessons because another PE teacher has been teaching them before, and so I've just sort of come in at the last minute to sort of standardise some work and check that they're learning what they need to be learning. What about your feet? Have a look at your feet. We've got some feet turning out. Turning out is a lovely position, but we're looking for parallel. So parallel is feet, it's completely in parallel. Can you see my toes? And then look at your toes. Right, what about those slides? I think they're the smallest slides I've ever seen you do. Thanks for capturing me then, Jamie. They'll have in their minds what they think they're doing, and then they'll watch it back for themselves, and then they can actually see that actually I'm not making it up, and that their back leg isn't as straight as maybe they thought it was, or that they're not stepping as big as they thought they were, or they're really not concentrating, or their focus is down, so they can actually see that for themselves. What do you think your slides need to have a bit more of?
Use more space.
Use more space?
And extension.
Yeah, using more extension. Do you think everybody needs to do that?
Yeah.
What else do you think everybody could do?
I've got to jump higher when I've got to do the spinny arm thing. I've got to jump higher a bit.
So when you're talking about the body swings?
Yeah, because like I jump like an inch off the ground there. Like.
So you need to jump higher. Do you think everybody needs to jump higher? Yeah? Can we do it again straight away?
I think that it's better if we watch it through the telly, because then you can see your mistakes and you know what to improve on.
So I saw some stuff here that I realised that I was a bit sloppy on.
When I'm actually doing it, it seems like I'm using all the space and extending my legs, but when I actually see it back, I see that I'm not doing it correct, so I can correct myself.
You can see like things that you've done wrong, like little things like positioning and stuff like that, to make your dance better.
Right, you've just seen how you performed, so let's make everything bigger. Just have a quick practice while we're waiting for the camera. Just practice taking the biggest step in a swing. My sort of philosophy is if I just keep them going, if I keep them motivated, they're going to stay with me. Are we ready? 3, 2, 1, slide! And back. Right, you are the biggest bunch of cheaters I've ever seen. If you go back into that warm-up and you do anything smaller than that, then you're a cheat. Start from the beginning. Are we ready, cameramen? Here we go. Just once through. Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. Swing. Step. Step. Stretch. Over. Down. Up. Over. Down. Up. And slide. Back. Slide. Back. Turn and stop. Right, have a look. This second performance was better. But your focus is still down. This is really lovely extension here, though. Really good. Now look at the slides. You tell me if they're better than the first time.
They're all stepping, not sliding. Right? They're just taking big steps, not sliding.
What do they need to improve on, do you think, a little bit more?
Timing.
Their timing. There are dangers with self and peer assessment, especially peer assessment, and I have had lessons where students can be quite unconstructive with comments that they give back to people, and especially if you're in a situation where there's an argument that's just happened over lunchtime or break time, or there's a particular student who maybe is being bullied by another member of the class. There are situations that you have to tread quite carefully with, and it might be that you have to set it up. You have to sort of talk to them about what feedback is all about and how to be constructive. Step, stretch, and did you do all this as well?
The boys have been working on group sequences inspired by a modern classic from the English National Ballet.
It's called Swan Song, and basically it's about a prisoner he's been arrested and he's been interrogated. The first scene is how he's been interrogated by 2 guards. So we're basically trying to show how he's been interrogated and how they're trying to get answers out of him. And the second stage is the freedom section, where he's dreaming back to when he was free.
Watching and discussing the warm-up was a good start, but in this main activity, the boys are asked to be more analytical and systematic in written assessments. Is Alex spoon-feeding them with ideas?
There'll be questions based on evaluating other people's performance, such as, are their legs extended? Have they really improved their dance? So even though I'm giving them a question and then giving them prompting words, I'm also trying to get them to expand on what they're talking about so that they're really building up their vocabulary. It is guiding them, but it's also getting them to think for themselves. I want you to really think about what you've learnt from doing all of this for the last 10 weeks. What would you do differently, or what would you keep? You're going to need a clipboard each. You have a look at the clipboard. Gentlemen at the back, you also need a clipboard, and you're still going to be in charge of videoing as well, so you've got to do lots of things for me. On the first sheet it says peer feedback form. What do you think peer feedback is?
The people you're working with, it's like when you have to review their performance.
So you're giving feedback to somebody else, aren't you? You're their peer. First question's easy. It just says write down the names of the students you're watching, so you would just write down the names of the people you were watching straight away. Then it says, do the sections contrast in mood and performance quality. So what's the first one?
Interrogation.
Interrogation. Second one? What's the second section?
Freedom.
The freedom sections. What I'm looking for in that box is there a contrast? We should be able to see a clear difference between manipulation and the idea of being on your own and being free. So tell me what the movements were like in the interrogation.
They were rough
Rough?
because they were trying to scare him.
Yeah, so were they sharp actions?
Yeah.
Was it quite angry?
No, not really angry. It was more like patient, but like, oh, we're going to throw on the floor and keep on questioning you until you answer.
So it's control, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then the contrast, the difference should be, then when you go into the freedom section, what's the difference? So what, is it fast? It should be slow. It's quite continuous. Do you know what the word continuous means?
It keeps on going forever.
Yeah, it goes all the way through. There's never a stop. It's really trying to progress their dance vocabulary. I'm trying to make them talk about things that they perhaps wouldn't have talked about before and think about things that perhaps they wouldn't have thought of before, and expanding their knowledge. Do the performers perform the movement to their best potential? I'll sort of then have to go around the group and push the fact that they are writing as much detail as they can, rather than just sort of being satisfied with a yes or a no or a small statement. Turn your page over. And the next one is about you. So you're writing about yourself, you're not writing about anybody else. So the first one says, what part of my dance am I particularly pleased with? And why? What part of my dance do I think was a weakness? Why? If I was to make my dance again, what would I change or improve? That's easy, isn't it? You could do that. We ready, performers? Audience, you're watching their performance, you're writing a peer evaluation. 5, 6, 7, 8. It's nice that the students are learning how to also look at other people and how to analyse movement. I mean, that's particularly important in dance. They really need to do that. But if they're looking at learning how to analyse somebody else's, then they're actually more likely to be able to do that in their own performance. You three, Jack, who've just performed, can you come over here with your clipboards? You three who've just watched, you need to carry on filling out your forms. You're going to now watch your performance back. You need to answer these questions now.
Do you need any help filling out your questions? You're particularly pleased with the fact that you remembered that section. That's what you really mean
And
there.
I've done it with quality because I didn't just... Because the first time I done it properly, I went back here and I whacked my head. But this
So you
time...
controlled your actions. So let's put there. So we've got the part where...
Alex pushes them to be thoughtful about their assessments.
I remembered it.
Jack believes he can be a more objective critic than a friend.
And I perform the action with control.
Yeah. Say if some kid's marking you right, don't even like you, at least they're honest. But if it's just if it's your mate, sometimes they'll try to give you a bit of encouragement, say, oh yeah, that was well good. Really, honestly, it was rubbish. So yeah, I think it's better that I get graded myself. And I'm not lying but I think I've done 7 out of 10 because although it looked a bit rubbish, I gave it my all, I think. Yeah. Yeah, next time I think I should just go with the flow and just go with it. Just let it happen.
Or do you think, you talked about control a minute ago.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe you could have used a bit more control? Do you think that's what you could have done?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, the weakness, so even though you had good control in this action, you need to have a little bit more control in the run. Can you boys just pause a second so that we can watch their performance and then you carry on finishing that in a minute, okay? Camera people, are we ready to start again? So you're now writing the peer evaluation. You need to start it again because it needs to start from the beginning. Oh, good control, picking him up. Right, your group, come over here with your clipboards and just come and watch your performance quick. Or I'll bring your clipboards over. Come and watch your performance. Otherwise you'll miss it. So what do you think? Or was this bit particularly difficult because you had to remember it? Oh. Do you think it shows a contrast?
Yeah. We don't. It wasn't as good. The contrast wasn't as clear as it kind of could have been, but
Okay.
I think it was okay.
Maybe that's something you can put in your evaluation. Makes them better performers because they're learning about their own bodies and they have sort of a better awareness of themselves and a better awareness of their own performance. Can you think about what you're going to be writing in your evaluations and put in as much detail as possible? Can you work on them over the half term? Yeah, and then bring them back to your first PE lesson. I use it all the time, and even if it wasn't part of the school development plan, I'd still be using it. And I'm sure most dance teachers out there would also agree that you have to really to use it to be able to teach dance. So I think other teachers from other subjects, find your own strategies within your own department, in your own lesson and your own schemes of work, and then use it for yourselves.